What's up, parish orphans and retrogrades? Today, you're going to get something a little bit different. It's the Inaugural podcast. Doesn't have a formal name yet. I've been calling it In Not Of, but we might work up something different than that. With Grover from Twitter, what our podcast is going to cover, and it's strictly going to be on audio most weeks, maybe a couple times a month, will be light-hearted issues confronting the goodly Catholic householder, the man who is trying imperfectly, but sincerely, to raise his family in the light of Christ, in the world, but not of the world. And it's funny. It's funny times. It's a Chinese curse to say to somebody, may you live in interesting times. We live in interesting times because we are ostensibly cursed people. And guess what? Gallows humor is funny humor. And so it's an hour-long podcast where I upload my normal YouTube show in podcast form, just audio form, so you don't have to go anyplace different if you listen to the podcast. And it won't be up on YouTube after this first show, but I want to give all of you people, because my YouTube audience is bigger than my podcast audience, the opportunity to see what you're missing if you don't go listen to what I'm calling In Not Of. We might change the name. It's funny, it's lighthearted, it's basically humor the whole way through, but it's clean humor, or clean enough humor to satisfy any Catholic out there. And it's basically the sort of stuff that's confronting a goodly man who's trying to get his family to heaven. But we're not talking about the same issues inside the church, Thomism. We're not dealing with all this heavy moral or intellectual stuff. It is the stuff of real life. Here it is. Enjoy. New content for parish orphans and retrogrades out there coming your way momentarily. This will be a podcast dedicated to something related yet a little bit different from what you guys come to Rules for Retrogrades for. It's quality stuff. It'll be trustworthy content that you can consume, but it because it's informed by Catholicism. But of course, a big part of my project here on my channel is restoring to whatever little degree that I can in my corner of the world masculinity, a particularly Catholic form of masculinity. And so I think people need to see that good, faithful Catholic dudes who are friends talk like dudes, talk like men, and talk about masculine things. And a lot of times my good friend here who's sitting to my right today, whose name to you shall be Grover, and ye shall call him Grover, he and I talk about stuff when we go to Latin Mass together in New Orleans. And we're going to try to reproduce some of that. We're going to reproduce content together. We're not going to try.
All conversations we've actually already had. We're just redoing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're reproducing conversations.
Repackaged.
My friend and I can reproduce together, but only quality content. We each have wives. Anyway, you guys know Grover, and I thought that I should bring him out of the shadows of Twitter, because he has dwelt there under 3, 4, 5 different accounts. He's been kicked out, and yeah, what's up, Grover?
How's it going, Tim? Happy to be hanging out with you and talking and chatting. I don't know how many accounts I've had. We're shooting for a baker's dozen, but we'll see how many we actually get to. Try to keep it low key too. So yeah,
that's the goal. The baker's dozen. And if it's a red badge of courage to be kicked off of Twitter or YouTube or whatever platforms, hurts at the time. Unless you're an anon like yourself, and one hailing from Sesame Street, is it?
Sesame Street, yeah. Quality content.
Quality content. That's what we're doing here. But I mean, so like businesses have a mission statement. Michael Scott Paper Company has a mission statement, and all businesses have mission statements for a reason. It's kind of hilarious and corny, an article of Americana as that is. And so I figured here in the first show we would just do something of a mission statement. I have written on my whiteboard in front of me the mysterious question, what is this?
I didn't get a whiteboard, so I'll have to, that's the first thing we're going to have to discuss after this is over. We kind of talked about how it's just like an organic conversation and things that we just always talk about. And it seems like there's an interest people may have to just see that there's people that live their faith and live their faith in their everyday life. And it's very natural, it's normal, and not every single thing is just constantly talking about being at Mass, going to Mass, coming home from Mass, what we did at Mass, all these things. And so that's kind of what the idea was, is something else for people to have, because there's not a lot of stuff out there that isn't just garbage, let's be honest.
Yeah, like dangerous garbage. That's entertaining, perhaps. Today, often the entertainment component's even missing. But in the 80s and 90s, the standard was like entertaining, perhaps. My mom showed me George Carlin and Dennis Miller, and she was like a practicing Catholic and pretty faithful to boot. But there was a lot of toxicity in that stuff. And so what people here can do is, if they consume my other content, which is Catholic specific, they can come here knowing that it's two dudes talking about, every 45 minutes or hour, talking about 2 or 3 or maybe 4 main topics, and they're more in the world but not of the world, or at least we are two dudes who are in the world and not of the world. Everything we say is informed by Catholicism, but it's not what I'm doing on Rules for Retrogrades, which is assessing stuff in the church from a Thomistic perspective. This is more like, I remember what I told one of my little girls: to promise, the act of promising, it does not always require that you invoke the promise, right? Like, you can promise someone if you're like, I'll go to the store tomorrow. That's a promise, right? Like, you don't have to say, I promise I'll go to the store tomorrow. Little girl, I don't know what it is about little girls.
You have to say it.
You have to say,
right.
I promise.
Absolutely.
It's like a magical term. So this is what we're doing on the show. It's the I promise theory of Catholic content production. We're making stuff that is Catholic, but we're not saying at every turn, like, this is Catholic. It's informed by our Catholicism. But we're going to be talking about stuff like RV trips today.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're taking your battle bus on a trip. I just got back from an RV trip. You're taking your big trad van, your battle bus eastwise to the eastern part of the country. I went west. We'll talk about cereal, something that united our early friendship. And we'll talk about the concept of adult friendships. But I mean, what do you think of that? What do you think of
the first thing I just
theory?
wanted to start with was the promise theory is interesting because you actually promised quality content, and I don't know if I can sign off on that. So that's already going to be an issue for us. This may turn into fart jokes over beers, is what we should maybe call it even. But yeah, absolutely.
Or beer jokes over farts.
Beer jokes over farts is good.
Depending on how many beers.
Dad jokes are also welcome, I would say.
Yeah, there's so many more dad jokes than there are quality dad jokes.
Mm.
But
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, let's reverse this. Before we get into RV trips and battle bus trips, both of us have 6 children. You have 5, but okay, I'm thinking of Dave. Dave, you just popped out your 5th. I'm thinking of my brother.
My wife did a fantastic job. I would really be poor at that, so I let my wife take care of that.
You tried. And you're running for governor in California?
Exactly, yes.
You tried, but you're really bad at having kids. From your own.
Unless there's something you all know that I don't. You and Steph. That would also be very
sorry.
awkward.
Well, no. I apologize. I have 6 kids. You have 5 kids. We have 6, right? I'm looking at Steph now to make sure I said that right. I have 6 children to my name.
There's 11.
I put them on my resume.
Who they belong to, we don't always know. But
yeah.
There's 11 children running around the house.
That's right. And we get together. And for one thing, the 11 children, whenever you come visit me, you live not far away. Not in Hattiesburg, but not far away. You come and visit, and it's funny because we'll discuss the concept of having 6 or 5 children on an RV trip or a battle bus trip across the country, around the country. It's quite funny. We have some funny stories to be shared later. But also being the male householder, I guess that's a redundancy, the householder, who is a male, of a traditional Catholic family, the concept of making, maintaining, and knowing how to act within adult friendships is hell of a hard thing.
Yeah, it's a nightmare a lot of times because I have, a full-time job. fortunately still. And then you try to maintain friendships with that. You've got 5 kids running around the house, and it can become insane. And so you get into situations where it's like, I haven't talked to somebody in like a month and a half. Perhaps I should reach out to them and see if they're still alive. And it's a very funny conversation because a lot of times my wife has to remind me that, like how you treat friends, right? I don't know. You could give an assessment maybe of how that's gone. But yeah, it's very interesting. It's not something I'm used to. I get so busy that I forget about it, you know? And
well, that's the whole point. And I forget, you can tell the joke about how impossible it is to maintain friends in your 30s.
Yeah, one of the funniest things I ever heard somebody say was that, one of Christ's miracles was that he had friends in his 30s. Because you think about that and like, yeah, your time is consumed by literally almost everything else. So, especially like now with my oldest going through sacraments and things, there's a lot of preparation involved. There's a lot of that stuff too. So that all takes your time. So
yeah, the funny thing is, we're talking about it like we're pitching this to a bunch of younger kids. We're not. We denizens of the 30s and 40s. I have to say,
you got like
40s.
a decade on me now.
I was gonna say we denizens of the 30s, but this changed like 2 months ago. I'm now a man of a certain age. We denizens of middle age, let's say. We all know, we all understand how tough it is to traverse having friends. It doesn't. What you want is the intimacy of your friends in middle school, high school, college, without the daily like maintenance
right
of that. And that doesn't really work. That's the tricky
absolutely.
part, right? It's like in middle school, high school, college, you're depending on your buddies,
right.
like your bread and your butter. And you see them every day, and you know you need to treat them right because they're the main part of your social infrastructure. But it is an older person, as a senior citizen, it's tough because everyone craves intimacy. Right. Aristotle calls it the kingly virtue, but you're not feeding the beast.
I thought it was broship. Was it kingly virtue? That sounds a lot better because I would have went with broship.
It does. Aristotle says one of the two things, and maybe it's broship.
Yeah, the problem though, like you're saying, is that you want to have like a good friendship with people, but obviously you have to invest time in it. You can't just expect that to be there all the time, right? So that's why it's important. That's why we hang out. That's why we're down here right now. Even though you're just coming home from a road trip, we're going on one. It could have easily been like, hey, I'm just getting home. Difficult to swing. I'm getting situated again, and you were just like, yeah, doors open. Come on over. Let's hang out. So that's one of those things that we can try to do.
I think one of the things I'd give credit to actually both of our wives. This is a sincere compliment for both your wife and my wife. So it's kind of like throwing pearls before no one, because neither of them are in the room. They were both in the room and they both left. But that both our wives. I'm waiting. I'm stalling. Here comes someone. Yes, she came back in the room, so she gets to hear the compliment. One thing that
because they'll never listen to this.
No, I would never tell them to their face, like Michael says to Pam. She's a gifted artist, and I would never say this to her.
Don't ever let her know.
She's a gifted artist and a wonderful person, but I would never tell her.
No, both our wives do something that's absolutely indispensable to having adult male friendships. And we're talking friendship, we're talking male friendship. Camaraderie is a fundamentally different thing for men and women. Women try to kind of ape it or parrot it, and it's not the same thing. They don't need it in the same way that men need camaraderie. Both our wives are willing to sort of live on a rucksack or whatever, and to throw the stuff in the car and spend the night at someone else's house, or whatever it is. Spend the night in the RV, spend the night in the in your case the battle bus, maybe whatever it requires. I didn't tell you yet, but you're sleeping there tonight,
perfect.
In my driveway.
That's exciting. I've been wanting to do that, and I've not had an excuse yet, so that's perfect. I can't wait. That'll be.
I mean, we actually have a room for you, as we always do. You live in New Orleans. I live here in Hattiesburg. It's not that far, but it makes it much better if the wives, which both the wives are actually cool and willing to go and stay for a night or two. And I think, if we're addressing the problem, it's part of what I do on Rules for Retrogrades, and this will be absolute overlap. The problem, the absolute deficit in society today is male virtue and the virtue of male friendship specifically. Right. Males are not running their households and their wives aren't supporting them running their households. And one of the many things that's in deficit is men having virtuous friends with other men. And because the wives don't want to be put out, it's a pain in the neck to go put your kids in your battle bus and be gone for the weekend. But that's what it actually is requisite for men to have friendship like this.
Yeah, it is. And I get very aggravated easily. And so that's another whole nother aspect of it, right? I mean, I'm very quick to anger, as they would say. So I've had to learn to temper that, because if we're going to do things with our children, you have to learn to be okay with certain messes and things, right? So yeah, absolutely. The thing that stinks though is they're both like such good friends now too. It seems like I was hoping there'd be some weird tension when I come visit every time. The kids get along, the wives get along, so something will have to be thrown in the mix to mix that up. So that's the only thing I'm worried about.
Yeah, you got to get the spices from somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, it's just boring, right?
And both of us are married to at least partial Latinxes.
Latinx.
Latinx.
The Latinx is
so
plural.
Yeah.
Is that correct? I don't want to offend anyone, so hopefully it's Latinx.
I thought it was Latinx.
Oh, Latinx.
No one knows. Yeah, you're the Latin X or whatever.
Yeah,
and you don't even.
You could put the knife down.
But note how I brought it up after I said
you put the knife
spice
Take
it
out
up.
my hoop earrings real quick and
You were,
calm down.
but Steph, you're supposed to say, was that an offensive salsa reference because of the color of my skin, right? Because I said spice it up, and then I made a reference to your Latinx-ness. But
insensitive, especially in today's day and age. That's one of the things that surprises me, is I'm not usually friends with people who are so inflammatory and just looking for trouble, but for some reason, we just got along right away. So
we're both looking for the same thing.
Of the two of
trouble.
us, yeah. Of the two of us, it's you, right? Like,
yeah, it's funny. People would say like, "Oh," I mean, I think people would say you're doing a show with Grover. Some people know that we're friends. I guess more people will know after this.
Maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah. Well, they see us together when we go to Mass, but I'm not sure how many of those people even know that you are Grover from Sesame Street.
Thankfully, nobody has any clue who I am.
Yeah.
Because that's just bad news for everybody. So.
Well, if they recognize your voice, they know now. So you're gonna have to find a new job.
Oh.
No, but I mean, the point is, I men that are listening to this that are getting the feel, I would say accurately that we're to do relatively normal, I should venture to say,
right.
Catholic dudes who are very serious about our faith, that when I do go out there to New Orleans, we'll go to the Latin Mass at St. Pat's, and then we're looking to go do something cool afterwards. And I mean, it's like, I'm going to be honest, when we go to the substance of our friendship, when we go out to breakfast, or if we go back to your place or whatever, or you come down here, we're not really talking Catholic stuff. It is typically, sometimes we do, but the substance of the friendship is like what I said about the promise. The promise is the act of making a promise to someone. I will go to the store for you tomorrow. The promise doesn't have to be self-referential. And that's how a good male Catholic friendship is. It's like, it doesn't need to be self-referential. I don't ask you all the time, like, do you really like me a lot? Are we friends? I also don't ask, is this a Catholic friendship?
You've done both of those things. You've literally done both of those things, and I've seen you mark the calendar to make sure, like, I've asked twice this month. If I ask a third time, I know he gets upset. So
I do tend to break into tears.
Yeah.
Require you to reassure me that I'm lovely.
It was awkward at first, but I'm getting used to it now. And so that really surprised me as somebody who's like a public figure, kind of like you are, So
we're all insecure.
I'm getting used to it. So
even insignificant ones, like the worst micro celebrities from within Catholicism.
But that's one of the funny things, though. Like I've always thought that was funny, is that you'll joke about that, but there's some people that will definitely take that seriously. They're public figure. And I remember on Twitter, I always make jokes like at your expense or whatever, and people love that. They think it's funny because you'll actually jump in on it.
Yeah.
And you're not getting your feelings hurt.
Yeah.
And that's just how our friendship is.
Yeah.
I think if you're not making fun of somebody, it's probably because you don't like them.
Yeah.
Right? That old adage that like that's just how it always has been. We've lost a lot of that, I think, just like in friendships and society and stuff. Like you might be, pushing 50 soon, and I'm in my mid 30s maybe.
Yeah.
But like literally though, like fart jokes and making fun of each other, like that builds camaraderie and spirit, esprit de corps. So that's what's fun.
I don't think I've ever heard you actually make a fart joke. So if I take what you just said seriously, then we have no camaraderie.
So, all right. Well, I'll come up with a few. I'm sure I can think of it.
There aren't. The funny thing is, there aren't that many fart jokes. I mean, really, the fart joke is just someone farts,
right, yeah.
and then everyone's laughing. But I mean, like,
joke.
People use that as a like a genre of joke, and there I don't know any actual funny fart jokes where the fart is like the punchline or substantively works into the joke. A fart joke is just literally one of two dudes will do that, and then everyone's laughing.
Well, now in my house, there's so many dudes running around because my kids were 4 boys, 1 girl, so. It's constantly just somebody is ripping ass, and we're trying to deal with it. So
I honestly thought you had 6 kids, and I know all them. They're in my house currently.
This is talking about like friendships, and it's like I'm pretty sure you had 6 kids. Maybe I forgot one on the way here.
Dude, no, I just I'm serious.
If one rolls out,
go down and check. I'm pretty sure there's an extra one. I'm pretty sure I'm right on this. 80-20 on this.
I'm 80% sure 50% of your
agree to disagree.
Yeah. Okay.
What is the meaning of San Diego?
San Diego.
But we should be serious for 20 seconds and say the real blade, the real cutting point of adult male friendship is that, iron sharpens iron. And
are you talking about sword fights right now?
I am.
Because that's a completely immature topic as well.
No, but I mean, it's important. The fact that it's lacking does reflect the fact that pretty much all the male virtues are lacking right now.
Sure.
And male leadership is lacking now. And so I think it's really fitting that, I don't know, just the theme of wives being willing to nurture their husband's friendship with other dudes, even if that means, okay, like, honey, we're not going to be staying at the house tonight or whatever.
Right. Yeah, because we could have easily just been like, oh, we'll take it easy, we'll stay at home another night, whatever it is. But again, it's just one of those things that you can do to put forth effort, right, and just maintain a friendship and have a little fun too. Obviously,
that really impressed us.
That's the way that male bonding happens, and I'm glad that we were able to do that, Tim. So
I'm doing my dissertation on male bonding.
Oh gosh!
And on male impromptu sword spontaneous
male sword fighting.
You do enough of that on Twitter.
How did the trip go, by the way? Because I actually haven't been filled in yet on this, so I'm interested if you want to talk about it. If not, just go right down the whiteboard. So we'll just keep going.
Well, I mean, so we RV'd from whatever the verb there is from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, through Dallas. It was a weird, I don't know, sentimental journey because we were seeing a bunch of our ex-hometowns.
Oh, wow, okay.
First night we were in Dallas. The Plano area of Dallas, Metroplex dwellers who want to get specific on this beast. And, we visited Steph's brothers when we were there. And then we...
How many are there?
There are two. There are 2.
2 brothers, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew that because
it's complex, but we're going with 2.
Oh, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, her mom's been married like oodles of times. But So yeah, there were 2 brothers, very cool dudes. We got to visit with them. Saw Dallas. Took another couple days to get to California. We got all the way out to California, of course. Bakersfield is a hometown. We were also there for a wedding in San Juan Capistrano. And seeing Bakersfield was weird because it was the first time that we've been back since, it's like hometown number 2 of ours. First time we've been back since the cancellation, shall we call it. And then we went to Vegas and chilled out a couple nights at the Circus RV park.
Oh, nice.
We're just doing kids stuff the whole time. They had water slides for the kids. And that's also where we hung out right after I got canned last summer, and we were seeing what would blow over with Black Lives Matter.
When y'all were out there, when you were in Baco, did you go back to see the old house that you all lived in? Because that's where I met you guys at, was in Bakersfield, remember?
Yeah, that's right. You came out there and we watched Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder 1.
Yes, I watched the first fight, the replay through the window, I think, while I was waiting for you at the door, and thought that the fight had already started.
We had a lot of people up at the house.
Yeah, it was late, and I thought, oh man.
Yeah, no, now that we're better friends, I can admit to you that's just the ringer that we put new friends through.
Nice. It's like like Fight Club where you sit on the porch and you You wait and they're like, just go away. You're never going to get in here. And if you wait long enough, the door opens.
Yeah, and then if someone waits that long, it's like, what? This guy doesn't have something better going on?
Then the police show up. Then the police
You passed the test by being like, screw this, I'm leaving.
Right. There's a vagrant.
And you failed the test.
Oh, well.
So why are we still friends?
I have no idea.
I
question it every day.
Was that Fury Wilder 1 or 2?
That was the second fight. They replayed the first fight before the second fight, like they frequently do. So I was looking through the window after I had like knocked and rang the doorbell, and I saw Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder on TV, and I was like, I missed the fight. Because I think I was running a few minutes late. And I thought, live events sometimes go a little early, a little late, which realistically they don't. They always go late because they want the advertising and whatever. But so here I am, like peeking through the window, and then like as you came to the window or like the door, you saw me, and I tried to pretend I wasn't doing that. And so that's why I was actually in the bushes. It wasn't because I was trying to see in your window. No, but yeah, it was really crazy. So that's where we had met at, was your house in Baco. I came out there, so. Can I say Baco? I'm not from there. Can I say that? I've always heard it called that. So
sure, but I mean, you'll at the risk of being a poser. But,
oh yeah,
no, that's what people from Bakersfield call it. But here's the thing: it doesn't. You can say Baco even though you're not from Bakersfield, because no one in the world, in their right mind, wants to be from Bakersfield.
Yeah, listen, I've been up in the hills, whatever you want to call it. There's a town called Tehachapi.
Yeah.
And I've just looked over what I think is Bakersfield, if you can see it, between like the smog and the bad air and stuff. So I would
floating garbage.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be from there either. So.
Yeah.
But it was cool though. That's where I met you guys. So sorry to sidetrack you.
Yeah, and fun fact, also related to the RV.
Right.
I think I pulled the trigger on buying that RV that night that I met you.
You know what? You're right. That I remember because you were talking to the guy via text maybe before you had called him or something, and you literally looked at me and you're like, "I'm really sorry that I'm doing this. I would rather be doing literally anything other than this right now. I just want to watch boxing. I wish this would be over with," or something to that effect. So that was pretty funny, actually. So yeah, I do remember that.
That was cool. You came bearing gifts. You gave us a bunch of gear.
Some swag, yeah.
Yeah, I won't say what gear, but because of your secret identity, which is safe with me.
Super secret, yeah.
So secret. But yeah, no, it was like it was a weirdly sentimental, kind of emotional time going through Baker. So it was like Plano,
right,
where Steph and I met and spent middle school, high school, college there. Then we go to Bakersfield, where we spent for me anyway, young childhood, and then kind of me and Steph's first part of our marriage, and so it was weird. And we went through the wedding, San Juan Capistrano. Then we went up to Vegas. Then we spent the night in Lake Tahoe, which was pretty. It's a different town. That's all I'm going to say on that. And a la Forrest Gump. And then we got to the Yellowstone area. And we were driving through South Wyoming and realized there's nothing in South Wyoming. And Steph was just like, why don't we? I was going through South Bend in Chicago to give talks. And it was like, oh, we have like an extra day. Why not go through northwest Wyoming and go to Yellowstone? That was amazing. But
so you didn't have like a set schedule. You were just kind of, you had certain things you needed to do, but then you just kind of like, we're going to get there when we get there or whatever beyond that.
Yeah. Okay. Life in an RV.
That's like the best trips, right? I mean,
it is.
Yeah.
And you can do it more with RV because our children have to go to the bathroom once every 6 months.
I was just going to make a toilet joke and be like, my van, I've got to pull over so they can use the bathroom.
Yeah. And you don't have a toilet in the van.
I might build one. The way that it goes on road trips, I can tell you that, because the last time we came out here, it's a 2-hour drive or so, depending on if you want to follow laws and such. And one of my kids wanted to try to go in a bottle because I was so furious. Like, we had to stop every 20 minutes, it seemed like. I mean, my wife might have been pregnant at the time, and so that may have been. But she stops less than I do. So then she's pointing out the fact that, like, I can't complain I'm driving. So I have the right. I'm going to make that point. I have the right to go or to not go to the bathroom if I want to or don't want to, because I'm driving. I just want to point that out.
It goes without saying.
Oh, absolutely. So yes,
it's like the radio.
Yeah. Thank you. Don't touch the radio. Don't even look at it. Just, I've got it.
Says the guy who just literally manhandled my thermostat before he came up here.
It was almost 80 degrees in the house, man. That is unbelievable. I don't care if you're from Bakersfield or I don't even care. That is
true, but we're talking about sovereignty and the prerogative of the king.
Okay.
And when you're the driver, right. No, I'm actually appreciative.
It was wicked hot. I'm sorry, but it was so hot I had to. So I hope that's not a problem. We can turn it back up afterwards.
No, can I tell a true story? This is I guess this would almost qualify as the first ever fart joke. It's a toilet joke, and it's a story that happened before we purchased the RV. Now, what we would do in the 6-child minivan, it's a Honda Odyssey. I've been very successful in life, so I can purchase a Honda Odyssey. It's a lovely minivan.
What kind of money is that?
It's serious money.
That's baller.
But this is when I went to, I think, Portland to give a talk to the good folks at Portland. I spoke with Archbishop Sample. That was cool.
Yeah, there was a boxing match that day.
There was.
We'll get to that later. Sorry.
Yeah, and there was lots of tweets happening that day. Yes. Anyway, so the kids were going to the bathroom. Poop. They're going to actual poop bathroom like once every 6 minutes. I'm not just talking about urine. I'm talking about poop. And they would go so often that I just said, what a metabolism. One of our twins goes so often, in fact, that before that trip, Steph had said, let's bring this little training Mickey Mouse toilet.
Squatty potty.
Yeah. So that at truck stops, instead of getting out and having to go in the dirty bathroom, we can just put it on the floor.
Like the 30 yards to the bathroom?
Or we could just pull off at a rest stop.
Oh, okay.
And it's right there. It was.
When I think rest stop, though, I think bathrooms there. Are you talking like just a spot on the road you pull over to?
Yeah,
it depends. You don't get murdered at.
Depends how open you are to getting syphilis. Or
okay, yeah, that's. Okay.
I tend to frown on that. I know you have a different thing. Hey, man, who am I to judge?
I'm the kind of guy that rolls up into somebody's house and adjusts the thermostat. I'm just gonna say that.
You are. I'm the kind of guy that hails from Bakersfield. You're the kind of guy
Yeah.
that'll touch a man's thermostat. Which is not code language. Well, you just touch a man's thermostat, which is audacious enough. But no, listen to this. This is an absolutely true story. We had a friend and a former student of mine going to Portland with us. Steph went out to get a water or something. One of the twins, I think it was Sharmby, right? Well, I probably shouldn't say who. It actually wasn't her. I think it was the other one, but we're not going to say who. Used the facilities inside our minivan. And it's supposed to, it has a removable bottom.
yeah, I know what they are, man. I got one of those. Come on.
So my friend and ex-student was like, Tim? Then he just cracks up and he's like, she used just basically the toilet rim and took a number 2. And it's in the car.
As one does.
As the way you do.
As one does at a truck stop, yeah.
Well, the way the humans do. We make the doo-doo. And she went literally on the car. And I was laughing. And obviously I was just waiting for Steph to get back to clean it up. And it was hilarious. I mean, that's like what you do to your enemy, not your loving father. You know? She went literally right there on the carpet in the car.
This is a moment from, I think it's SNL. Will Ferrell is like, I drive a Dodge Stratus, and it's like, I bought a Honda Odyssey. Like, I don't have to put up with this. You know?
I have to put up with this?
I don't have to. I'm a well-established man. I'm a grown
plenty
man.
of money. I have a Honda Odyssey, and my daughter can go in it if she wants. That's how little I need your money.
Are you the poop guy? Because, like, in my marriage, like, I'm the vomit guy. My wife can do anything but vomit. I have to do the vomit.
Do you?
Yeah, no. I have to, because she can't. She physically
Steph is both the poop and the vomit guy. And the urine and boogers. I think I help, right? I entertain. I crack wise.
Don't try to get out of it now. Yeah, exactly.
No,
I don't. Classic
do
case when both the twins were vomiting, so at the same time. So we had to each be the vomit guy.
Which side story? That's when we found Stranger Things. Season 1 was when both the twins were vomiting.
We watched them for like.
Why were you not cleaning?
It was an amazing weekend.
Instead of watching TV, like you're just like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm just gonna turn the TV on.
No, we would clean and then go watch.
Then
wait for more vomit to emerge to issue.
So what I end up doing is I end up posting up in the bed, or in the bedroom with the kids, and I just have a bowl. And as soon as I hear noise, I just force the bowl in front of them.
Yeah.
And that's standard move. That's my job.
I thought something really innovative was coming around.
No, because
here's what I do.
No, because my wife literally cannot do it. Everybody else, the wife usually will clean up the poop and the pee and the whatever. But I'm telling you, my wife cannot do vomit. She can do anything else. She can do blood. She can do boogers.
You're vomiting blood, bro. You're the medical guy.
Normally they're not vomiting blood. It's coming out the other end. It's blood from the rectum damn near killed him. So No, that's not true. That's so
That's
random.
just as bad.
Yeah,
like,
no, but I'm saying like
I'm gonna start praying for your children.
my boys fight all
More
the
often.
time, and so like there's blood all the
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
and so
yeah.
she'll clean that up.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing is that none of that spooks them except for blood. They don't care about anything,
Yeah.
boogers or poop or whatever. But if there's blood, they flip out.
Yeah.
And I think they got that from my father, who was the same way. But
A blood fear.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's but yeah, back to your. My whole goal this time is to stop your story every time you try to finish it and just get you sidetracked with blood and feces.
But I just laid a strong groundwork for why RVs are good, because the toilet there has an actual hole on the bottom that goes to something other than the carpet in your Honda Odyssey.
Yeah. So, other than that, though, the trip that time was good. I could take it. The one to Oregon, what you were talking about.
Yeah, that was all. It was a good talk.
That's crazy.
Lots was going on that day. But
Were you giving the talk? Because you just said it was a good talk, so you just graded your own talk and said it was good.
I did. It went well.
Again, I'm going to go back to the fact that you basically promised quality content, which brings us in a loop to what you said is like.
And we brought up toilets within 35 minutes.
So to round out your trip, though, the one that you currently just finished. So you went through Wyoming, which you said there's nothing there. That's the whole Midwest.
Except Yellowstone. No.
Oh,
Yellowstone.
nice. Yeah, Yellowstone's beautiful. I have a friend who used to vacation there every single year. That's how much he loved it. I mean, it just never got sick of it. So did y'all stay there very long?
We only had the extra day,
Okay.
but we got to stay in Grand Teton National Park. It's probably the RV-inest thing we've ever done. Because
Nice.
when we first got the RV, there's something of a grade up to sleeping in it. There are basically 3 things you can do when you get an RV. You can sleep in it in like a Walmart parking lot where you're not hooked up and you don't even expand out the slides.
Right.
That's really easy. And Steph liked to do that all along, which is prescient and I think wise for her, because literally you can just wake up and the kids are still sleeping and just take off and start driving. And you get out, instead of going to a hotel,
There's
it's
no
way
preparation.
quicker.
Yeah,
there's no prep.
yeah.
The middle kind of way is you pull into an RV park, hook up, pull the slides out. That's 20 minutes, maybe 18 minutes of prep to get out of it
Right.
and go. You can still take off with the kids still sleeping. But if you go to a hotel, and I didn't really realize this until this trip this summer, even though we've had the RV for almost a year and a half, it's just an hour and a half to get out, So like people out there who have the means, if you have a big family and you don't like to fly, RVs are amazing because once you really embrace the essence of RVing, which is actually just stopping in parking lots or rest stops.
If you like driving a vehicle, that's really big. That's it. If you don't want to fly in a plane in the sky, you can drive a big vehicle down the road.
Yeah, and it's fun.
That's the way to look at it.
It's fun. It's self-reliance, and it's really good. So we literally, if you look at what we did around the map, going from Mississippi to California, it's 2/3 of the length of the country. Then north to Notre Dame, Chicago, then down. We did a big loop.
Did you go to St. John Canchis by chance when you were in Chicago at all?
We did it. We went
Okay.
to St. James.
That's the parish you
Sag
shouted
Bridge.
out in your video
Yeah.
that you did recently. Nice.
So it's a big trip. Now,
Yeah, that's
so you have the battle bus. You guys
Yes.
are going to Tennessee. Do you
guess.
have a portable toilet that your kid can?
I don't want one now.
spoil your carpet.
What are you kidding me? No, we did. We had one that you could hook to the hitch, like if you were pulling a trailer.
Yeah.
Like the hitch, you could literally just set it on there, so it's like a seat, and they can just sit down, let it go. It's on the road, and then you just take off.
Okay.
But I don't have that anymore. So we just have to stop every 30 seconds usually with kids that you have to stop, and then
It's seriously every 6 minutes.
it's so
I did the
frustrating.
math. I did the math, and they just. I don't know what they're eating. They eat a lot of junk. That they find stuff back there, pieces of whatever.
They're
They
digging
find
stuff out
in
of
there.
seats. They're
Yeah.
going into the carpet. It's ridiculous.
Stuff that makes them go a lot. They have a high fiber diet, so I don't know why they go so much.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Our trip in total is like 8.5 to 9 hours, but we literally came here, which is almost 2 hours, and then we stopped, and then I'll sleep in my van tonight, like you said earlier, and then
not
the kids will be
welcome
outside.
here.
No, the kids will be outside. I'll be in the van, and then tomorrow we're leaving whatever time, and we'll probably just go like 3-4 hours, and we'll just stop for the day because otherwise, like I said, it's just I'm gonna go nuts. So. Yeah, it is a small little trip, nothing too crazy. Visiting some friends that are like family, family type friends almost. relaxing there, and then we're just going to come back through again, and definitely not stopping on the way back now, that's for sure. I would have loved to, but now that we've been visiting, I don't think we're gonna. This is ridiculous. No, we'll see how it goes on the way back. But again, I like to have certain landmarks and things I want to do, and then kind of beyond that, just play it by ear. So that's kind of what we do too.
So when are you coming back?
I don't know the exact day. I don't know. I'm gonna keep you guys on your toes.
I think it's interesting though that like for a lot of guys our dad's age, right? The American trip was sort of a high water mark where everyone gets ready for the 2 weeks of vacation a year, 1 week of vacation a year, depending on what you have. You're getting the family ready for the American institution, the family car trip to Wally World or whatever, you know? And then you get in the car and you know, I'm not saying it's just my dad or just your dad or whatever, but men of that certain age, they're just like angry. You know?
Yeah, that's what I'm not trying to be. That's what I was saying.
That's what you're trying not to
like
be.
an angry person.
You get more of it, right? I get more of it now. I remember we'd stop at hotels at night, and it would be like, just shut up! And like, me and my brothers would get divided up, and my dad would be in his underpants screaming. He was always a fit guy, pretty strong guy, 6'3", like good figure, but he'd be in his undies.
You're like describing it right now. Whoever the people listening to this, they're just like...
Whoever got in more trouble.
I was thinking like beer gut and like...
No, it
super fit, looked really good, you know, when he was like angry.
It's like whoever got in the most trouble would get called into the parents' bed and be like, it was literally all defined by the parents, you know, and instead of having a kind of 50-50 where it's a trip, you do it with your family, and you know, okay, we can make some stops for the kids. That was not practiced in previous generations. And again, both of us are traditional guys that I think are maybe a little more willing to just try to make a family road trip a little bit less like father in underpants viewing fun for the children. You know what I mean?
I can't believe how much I'm willing to like let go when I'm on trips, to be honest, because like normally, like you said, don't touch the radio. Don't, you know, talk too loud. Don't scream at me. Stop throwing things. Stop fighting in the back. Doing all this. And, like, literally, I just have to let a lot of that go.
Right.
And just because, like, otherwise, nobody's going to have fun.
Right. And that's what you'll remember about your trip.
Right. And everybody's just going to grow up thinking, like, I'm not doing family trips because my family trips were my dad flexing in his underwear, screaming at me because he had a pretty decent figure. You know what I mean? And he wanted everybody to know who was physically dominant. You know? Because that's exactly what you had said verbatim.
That's no, but you quoted me word for word. It's astounding.
I just remembered all that. I don't want my children to have really bad childhood memories of family trips. They should enjoy their family. That's part of that traditional stuff we were talking about. You should enjoy your family, your time with your family, who should be your friends in a way, right? Like you and Steph, you talk about how like you're best friends. That's how it should be with like, you know, me and my wife, same way. And our kids should be an extension of that, like part of that, you know? So that makes the trips more fun.
100%.
Part of that is just letting it go. Because I'm telling you, some of the music we listen to now, oh man, I never thought I'd listen to that kind of stuff and be okay with it. Yeah. And actually just have fun with it.
Yeah.
You know?
Y'all, the Casey and the Sunshine Band that you've embraced.
They're really into Pantera right now, actually. So
that's somewhat based of your children. That's the one area I have not ceded to the kids.
Right.
When we're on the trip, they're going to listen to, you know.
This is NPR.
Norwegian black metal.
Tim Gordon's favorite channel. Welcome back to that.
No, I mean, like,
what do you
Vito
listen to? What do you listen to?
Well, you know what I listen to. But a lot of people out there don't.
No, it's fine.
They don't all relate to. Well, I listen to Pantera. I like heavy, aggressive.
You were talking about Vito Corleone, though. Where's that going? Because that's super.
No, I'm just saying. So in Godfather, right? He tells Santino, because he knows that he's running around on his wife. You know, you can never be a real man unless you spend time with your family.
Right.
And he's saying it to someone else in the room, a third party, but he's really telling Santino. There needs to be like a caveat, and you know, I think fathers before our generation, guys like you are trying to be a corrective to this, needed to hear the caveat. It needed to be, you should spend time with your family because you can never be a real man if you don't spend time with your family, and you should enjoy it.
Yeah.
And if you're not enjoying it, then you should habituate it more and more and grow into it and learn to love it. If you can't spend time with your family and really, really enjoy it, then you can never be a real man.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's kind of what we're built to do, right? Is lead family and hopefully, God willing, lead everyone to heaven with us in our family if we can.
Right.
Or we can just be crotchety old men. Like that's how my old man was. I mean, he was a good guy. But
so was my dad.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, though, like
my dad is sorry. Your dad is deceased. My dad is still kicking it.
Yeah, he kicked off a few years ago. But yeah,
a lot of kicking going on. Your dad passed on. My dad's still alive, but we're both saying they're kicking.
Both kicking. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's strange because if you think about it, yeah, I mean, you can literally fall into the same situations or things that you've seen, or you can just choose to be different about it. And it's tough to do because it's a learned behavior, right? It's easy to do the simpler thing. But then when you build that virtue over time, you do start to enjoy it. You know, like I said, some of the music or things that we'll listen to, I'm just like, this is ridiculous. But it's a lot of fun. You're singing with the kids, you're screwing around, you know.
Yeah.
And you can, really have fun with that. So it's important for people to try to do that because you only get one shot at that, or at that and at this. That's what I always try to remind myself. This is the one shot you get. Right. And I'm getting now to the age where I'm the age that my parents were when I think about them.
Right.
And that's really interesting to think about because if you haven't been flexing in your underwear lately, now's the time to do it. No, but I mean, yeah.
You can do that till they're like the kids are 4 or 5, but they're gonna remember.
Yeah, they're gonna. They start forming permanent memories around like 5 or 6 years old, I think. So, yeah, it's
undie flexing days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think about it this way, like, yeah, your kids will be fair to you in their memories, right? Mm-hmm. They're not gonna say, oh, because my dad got grouchy on vacation, he was a bad guy, right? Because that's not the case. My dad's a very good guy. Your dad was a very good guy. It sounds like, and neither of us are like exaggerating, right? But I do sit back here, and with the luxury of retrospect, I do say, my dad was grouchy to be around us on vacations. Yeah. Extra, like I always noticed in summertime, my dad was he was always in a really nice mood. He'd come home and he'd be like, "Are you enjoying yourself?" He's nice on weekdays, but then on weekends he was like a half notch grouchier, and it's like
that's
you have more time with it. Strange. Right. And then on vacation it would go like 2.5 notches grouchier, and it's like, wait, there's like an inverse correlation between time spent and grouchiness, and part of that's that men in our kind of more ancient history, we were off doing a hunt or something like that, and so it's easy to be around other men and to stop off at the pub after work. But that stuff. This is what we were talking about when we opened How to Be a Grown Man, a Householder That Has Friends. Right. You can't completely neglect that stuff like the suburban cuck does. Your wife shouldn't be stopping you from, I don't know, maybe once a week grabbing a beer with your friend, some suds after work. But it should be the kind of thing where you're like, I would do that when I had a job before I was a stay-at-home father.
Stay-at-home dad.
And I...
So brave.
We kind of thinking of the kids and stuff. Brave. Yeah, no, I know.
So brave.
I'm a pioneer. You can do it. Anyway, so yeah, it's just the kind of thing that it requires balance. This whole configuration of things, being a household dude, it requires balance.
It does.
You got to show them that you still hang out and you make male friendship. And the male friendship is good for your soul itself, but also the kids see that you're still kind of manly. You're not too good at hanging around the house, wearing mommy's apron or whatever. Yeah. I know you like to do that, but most guys find that.
Yeah, but the color compliments my eyes. Why would you not? That's probably the weirdest thing I've ever said out loud.
Yeah, you don't actually wear that apron. But you can't do too much. You can't do too little. You're looking for the golden mean, and it's just one of those things that even though your kids, if you get a little grouchy on vacation, I just got back from a 3-week one. I understand it, but it is important to be tolerant because, and we had it was an amazing.
No,
trip.
That's good. Yeah,
but you can't. There were little irritations, and if you can get through those, then there'll be amazing memories for the kids, I guess.
Yeah, and that's great. Like I was saying, I mean, you want them to have fond memories. They're always going to have that, like, oh, do you remember when, Dad used to get mad because we would poop in the van, not in the toilet.
It was a one-time thing. To be fair to her, it wasn't. She's going to listen to this later and be like, you totally sold me out, bro.
And the funny thing is that that one event upgraded them to the accommodation of an RV.
Yeah, that one event. Man, you're telling me that's all it takes?
Wow. Yeah, just take one dump in your father's minivan.
Come to the battle bus and take a dump in there, and then I'll just upgrade to an RV.
Right.
No, that's great though. Hopefully our trip goes well. Nobody actually takes a crap in the van.
Well, even if they do, you clean it up, or rather, sorry, you have the wife clean it up.
I don't do
and
poop.
You get back to chugging.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And you have a good time, because I mean that was actually a very good trip. That Portland trip, we had a lot of good fun. Just it wasn't her noblest moment.
What fight was that?
Hers.
There was a fight on that weekend. Remember we were talking about that. What fight was that?
That was a little Andy Ruiz AJ part
that
2.
Was the AJ
Ruiz
Ruiz
fight. Everything in our relationship is structured pretty skeletally by
around
fights.
boxing matches.
Yeah, so literally people listening to this at that Portland parish where I have many friends. I won't name the specific parish, but lots of listeners there. It was very flattering. It was a long receiving line. One of the longest receiving lines at any event I've ever done, where people were asking for autographs and things like that.
Oh, that's good.
Selling books. But I had to duck out because I'd promised my friend and former student that we would not miss the Andy Ruiz AJ fight.
That was a big fight.
It was a big deal.
Big, yeah.
I promised myself, and remember what I said about
Who did
promises.
you have in that fight?
I didn't actually bet any money in that fight, but I was going to bet on Ruiz, just because, again, he was the double underdog.
Right, yeah.
The second time around, I was like, if I'm going to bet anything, might as well bet against the odds on Ruiz.
He was like 100 pounds heavier when he came into it. And then after the fact, he said he ate and drank all of that money away.
Yeah, he did.
Won, so.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it looked like he
was huge.
He literally just spent the money on food.
Right, yeah. It was a fiesta.
It was a fiesta. And it looked like after the fiesta, instead of working it off, he had taken a siesta. But we had to go out. We had to run out. We were about to miss the start of it. And just watching the car, I had to duck out. I had to stop a guy in the middle of a story he was sharing with me. I was like, I promised this dude.
He's like, my dad just died, and I just want to talk to somebody about my life, and I just want to end it all. And you're like, hold that thought.
Yes, it was that.
I promise you, I'll be right back.
I'm like, bro, this is so deep. I gotta go. Yeah,
that's terrible. That's not true at all.
No, that's not true. Yeah. That's not. What
I don't want people thinking.
I just had to duck out.
Right.
But it was actually quite hard to duck out because there's so many enthusiastic retrogrades and parish.
That's awesome to hear.
It was good. Well, it was actually a very boring fight. AJ.
That fight wasn't very.
Just
good.
avoided.
He
trading
boxed
punches
him and just destroyed him the whole time, pretty much. And Ruiz did not come in to box. I remember him. He was getting mad. And he was trying to get AJ to come to the middle of the ring.
Yeah,
and fight him
he's not going to do that, bro.
Like, that's what happened last time. He knows he can't do that.
Yeah, he was
a
literally
good fighter
doing
knows.
this.
Yeah, and a good fighter knows that. So sorry, that's not going to happen. So
I pointed here, like people can see. I'm used to YouTube. More than
this is it's good that there's no video because they'll see you flexing in your underwear right now.
Yeah, that makes you sound as weird as me. So go ahead and lie.
It's just awkward, but they can't see. So
no, you still sound weird if that's true.
It's still me. It's always
because you haven't complained for like 50 minutes. If I were literally in my underpants flexing my muscles, and you just bring it up after 50 minutes, you're gay. Like it's done.
I was gonna give you like the first 45-minute grace period. I thought that's what friends would do.
See, that's a fiction. But if it were true, you'd be gay. Like a straight man does not give any man a 45-minute grace period.
He does if they're friends.
No,
he does.
See, you're just digging the hole deeper, bro. You're sounding gayer and gayer to me.
It's bad. I know. I'm sorry. That's gonna be terrible.
And you're not starting with a whole lot of street cred on that. The heteronormative.
We keep going back to the promise of quality content, and I feel like this is gonna it's just gonna go south very fast.
One time, so I had a Sunday night radio show with my older brother, and one night it was right after Boehner became the speaker, the party muscle on the Republican.
Did you say
we were just
Boehner?
Boehner.
Oh, Boehner. Okay.
But remember him?
Yeah, John Boehner.
Yeah.
Who doesn't remember
We just
him?
made fun of his
Fantastic
name the whole time. It was not quality programming. But I'm a lot better at this than I was then, and we're still just making these jokes. But I think this is. I'm serious. We're talking about something that strikes at the essence of the male householding experience. One, particularly in summertime, you're going to take some family trips. It's really important time, and your kids will remember it. So we've said that.
Right.
We're doing a little recap.
Sure. I guess that's what we're doing now.
That's
not what the whiteboard
says. Male
says.
Friendship, special, fuzzy, and important for the formation of leaderly male virtue.
Yeah, absolutely.
By way of closing, I should say one of the other things that solidified our male friendship. Well, that's the only kind we could form.
I was wondering where you were going with that, but again, I'm very open to allowing you to speak and to whatever you need
Flex
to
in
do.
my
The
underpants?
space. Yeah, exactly.
If
Whatever
that were true, which
this
it's
is
not.
your safe space, not mine. So I'm going to let you live your truth.
Yeah.
Your lived experience.
Just listen to my truth here, bro. One thing we bonded over was that we both eat a lot of cereal. Like good cereal, not weird, crunchy, sugar-free cereal.
Objectively good cereal.
Tasty cereal.
Right.
What top 5 right now?
That's
Lay 'em
really
down.
okay. I was a Golden Grams guy, but that's out of the list now. I used to like that. I tried it recently.
That's like a top
Awful.
15.
No, I know. I tried it. So
Super Golden Grams, as it was once called.
Super Golden Grams? That's like Super Punch Out.
It was the same cereal.
Okay, so I gotta say, Fruit Loops are always my jam in my house.
Fruit Loops are a top 3
always
cereal.
Yeah, Fruit Loops are good. Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Number 1.
It's got to be number
Boom.
1. Yeah, it
Yes,
has to be.
number one.
It has to be number 1.
CTC.
Never a bad choice.
Well, and it's not never a bad choice. It's the GOAT.
Okay.
But go ahead. Yeah.
So, important distinction there.
It's offensive.
So I like Banana Nut Crunch. You ever had that one? You ever heard of that? Look at his
No,
face.
I mean,
I'm kidding.
look, can you see my face? You need to get out of my house. Yeah. One time we were doing this in my band because I played in a band in college. And
Was
the
that-
new drummer, it was a kid that had been a fan. We lost our drummer because drummers spinal tap on you and explode
I
into
was
thin
a
air.
drummer, bro.
And this kid literally was like Blueberry Morning. We were like, get out
What?
now. Get out now.
What? Wheaties, just no sugar, just Wheaties.
Wheaties.
From the 80s.
No, banana nut crunch. I
No,
mean, I don't
so
relate to you anymore.
Reese's Peanut Butter Puffs.
We've grown apart.
Like Reese's Puffs, those are fantastic. I like those
Those
too.
are good, but they're not the main peanut butter cereal that a healthy straight man should be eating.
What are your, you give yours. 'Cause
Okay,
you're the
well,
one
I
that brought
agree with
this
you.
up.
CTC and Fruit Loops are 2 of my all-time top
Right,
3.
so what's your other?
The other top 3 is the obvious and only and still champion of peanut butter cereals.
LeBron
Peanut Butter
James?
Captain Crunch. Don't even go there.
Peanut Butter Captain. Okay.
You're not off the hook. You're not
Captain-
going to bring up LeBron James, fluster me, flummox me, and get off the hook for
He's
saying
on the ropes.
banana morning
He's
or whatever.
Banana morning. First of all.
Wait, no. Don't sidetrack.
right.
Like
Let's go back to it. Let's circle back.
Reese's is good,
I'm going to sack you. Let's
But-
circle back.
but Reese's is good.
Throwing him off his game.
Peanut Butter Captain Crunch
Mm-hmm.
is obviously a top 3.
So Captain Crunch cuts the roof of your mouth, though, and it's not that.
No, false, erroneous.
It does. What do you let it sit for
Regular
45 minutes?
Captain Crunch cuts through the roof of your mouth, right? That's why you can't eat the crunch
But
berries.
it doesn't even have berries. Regular Captain Crunch doesn't have berries. That's trash. That's a
berries
trash
are a
cereal.
deal breaker for you?
No, I love the berries.
Well, what about the Reese's?
Regular Captain Crunch has no berries. That should be illegal. It should have to have berries in it.
Agreed,
Okay.
but you're taking something totally out of context. We're talking Peanut Butter Captain Crunch, which does not cut the roof of your mouth.
Okay.
It's completely mouth safe.
Mm-hmm.
It would be better. This would be amazing, and I think I've submitted this to the company multiple times. Peanut Butter Captain Crunch with crunch berries. Then you get your peanut butter, you get your jelly. It's delicious.
Oh, so that was the restraining order you were telling me about earlier. No more cereal, bro. Like
Also,
yeah.
Apple Jacks. It's just a little
Apple
alarming you
Jacks.
didn't
Listen,
mention that.
Apple Jacks is really good. That is one of my favorites, and that's the one. That's one that'll actually hide in the back of the closet so the kids don't see it because I don't want them to eat all of it in case it's like midnight or 1 a.m.
Yeah. No, that's legit.
I love it. I do. And
If you're gonna lead with a fruit cereal, you lead with Apple
Late
Jacks,
night-
not
late night
banana
cereal.
nut morning or whatever you said.
Banana Nut Crunch, man. It's a post cereal. It's good. It's a whole.
I mean, I'm
grain,
not saying it's made by an off-brand maker. I'm saying it sounds
it's really good.
like a non-top 10 cereal, and I'm being as amicable as I can by calling it that.
This
What else? Just keep going. Keep
no,
going.
this I don't even know now. I'm so flummoxed because you just insulted my taste in cereal.
What was good aside from that? But I aside from the banana one, and aside from the fact that you put in
Blueberry Morning. Have you ever had that one? That's one of my favorites. I used to be in this band, and I was like Blueberry Morning, and they were like, "Get out!"
You're saying you were my drummer, and I just didn't notice.
Right, exactly. Because nobody notices the drummers.
Also, really good. Obviously, we've missed some other ones. I do like
But,
Super
like,
Golden Graham.
You asked
but
for like so many cereals. Like I only eat so many cereal. Like I just can't even think of it right now.
what am
It's
I
on the
missing
spot.
here that we like to eat a lot? Those are my top 5.
You did the shopping, right? Like, what do you?
Lucky Charms.
Oh, Lucky Charms.
Oh, yeah, that's terrible. We forgot that. That's a great cereal.
Oh my gosh,
Like-
that's like number 4 for
Oh,
me.
I love it.
The problem with Lucky
Fruity
Charms are
Pebbles.
the non-mallows.
You love Fruity
Fruity
Pebbles.
Pebbles, I just bought a giant box today.
See, those
Golden
are... Okay.
Grams.
Now, listen.
Golden Grams are underrated.
My kids cannot have Fruity Pebbles.
and they just went back to the original formula.
My kids are not allowed to have Fruity Pebbles in the living room. Not in my house, because I'm the man of the house, and you know what I'm saying? Like,
How about the other
I
cereals?
draw the line. Now, you know what? Not anymore. I'm just gonna draw the line at cereal on the den. No, honestly though, Fruity Pebbles, they get everywhere. I hate it. I can't stand it.
But
I like them, but again, it's like a hide cereal. It's a hide and keep cereal.
Yeah,
What's
I agree with that. Kids don't know what they're doing.
What about
the other thing is kids are completely incompetent with everything. You'll note this if you go on an RV trip with my kids and probably yours.
I just put my...
If you go on an RV trip with my kids, then I probably need to call the police. But the point is, with your kids, if you take an RV trip, you'll note how incompetent they are. They're sweet.
Yeah.
They're loving.
Oh.
I have the best kids in the world. I love them. And we're genuinely close. But they could make a mess out of anything. And Fruity Pebbles are very messy because the flakes are small.
I'd be remiss.
I like a bigger pebble, Fruity.
I gotta ask though. What about Count Chocula? Because that is an absolute favorite of mine too.
Oh, amazing.
Okay,
Amazing.
good. I was like, because that's gonna be a deal breaker.
Well, because you get the double sweet. You
Yeah.
get all of the there's three
Cocoa
variations of the Count Chocula. You
Right.
got the Blueberry,
yeah,
Count Chocula,
take it or leave it.
and whatever else. Well, it's all the same stuff.
Right,
It's just
but
good
it's-
because you get a sweet flake.
Right.
You get a sugary, delicious flake along with the marshmallows. Lucky Charms, I'm always leaving them off, even they're probably my number 4.
Right.
Because of the oats, which have no sugar in them whatsoever.
Right. It's
Did
too
you know
healthy.
there are people out there that don't let their kids eat sugar?
I do.
Probably a lot of our listeners.
Listen, we could. Well, we could go a whole discussion on that.
They're also Marxists, I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true. Wait, why would your listeners be Marxists? That's kind of.
No, you missed the whole thing.
No, I know.
There's
It's a dad joke.
Yeah.
So, okay, but yeah, you've got to admit Count Chocula is great, which you did. That's a really fantastic cereal. I think everybody loves that, but Blueberry is just not in the same category. It's the same thing. It's just a different flavor, but it's just not as good. I can't.
It depends whether you're in the mood for chocolate or fruit. It's
Cocoa Puffs though. That's the best chocolate cereal.
Cocoa Puffs are good.
Because there's a Pebble one that's chocolate too, but I'm not a fan of that.
They're called chocolatey pebbles. There's a Pebble one with
Fruity
chocolate.
Pebbles, I know, but the chocolately Pebbles are just they're trash. And you're right. Let's bigger Pebbles, please.
Yeah, then they'd be less of a mess, you know. So you walked in my. We'll close it up here, but you walked in my pantry, realized we had immature cereals, and you knew that we were friends immediately. That was like the first time
we
came
had
over.
talked about it before that even happened.
Yeah, we talked about it beforehand, but
There was
I think
an actual moment, right? There was like a broment when I went into your pantry after I adjusted your thermostat. And we talked about cereal. So that is a factual statement.
it was in this house.
Yes.
And you'd been to my Bakersfield house the one time for the Wilder Ferry
Right.
fight. So you must not have noticed that night with all the goings on, RV purchases, you being locked out and peering into my windows like a forlorn lover.
Interestingly enough, looking in a window and looking out a window are two very different things. One is actually illegal, just so you know. Thought I'd share that nugget of wisdom with you.
Way less abnormal to do it from inside out.
Yeah, exactly.
But so I'm just saying, I remember a distinct moment when at this house, notwithstanding the fact that we discussed cereal
Right.
and how important it is to our lives, you were like good selections, and
sure.
I was like, this dude's cool. And this is another connection. We both were big consumers
We're gonna
of
start
Seinfeld, and he was a big
Yeah.
cereal guy.
Oh, it was huge. Yeah.
But adult cereal guys that don't eat like weird bran flakes or
Banana
crunchy
Nut
stuff,
Crunch.
banana nut crunch types, as I call them in my home, they're always cool people. It's like someone that likes Lord of the Rings without being a total nerd.
Yeah, but that's like when you're in high school and somebody's wearing the same like band shirt that you like or what, like, you know what I mean? You automatically know. You identify that person, right? And then you form those camps. It's
Yeah.
the same kind of idea.
Yeah,
It's
it
just like boring and in your 30s,
Right.
right?
Well, I think on that note, that's the perfect time because we are both boring and in the 30s or beyond.
It's past bedtime. Matlock's almost going to be on. So.
I go to bed so late for a man of a certain age. Yeah, but we should close it up. But this is a little sample of what we'll be doing. I mean, if there's a news item, we are not averse to discussing it.
But we're mainly going to be coming probably on Fridays, probably every other Friday. Mm-hmm. We'll start out. We'll see how it goes. And this is what it is to be in the world and not of the world. And maybe people will dig hearing two dudes talking like normal dudes, who are... You know that they're both Catholic, and that one of them is a window-lurking creep, and one is a underpants flexing, fearing guy. But they're both striving after male virtue in the real world.
I couldn't have said it better.
God bless you guys, and God save us.